Hello everybody and welcome to the first day of SOAPUi training. A lot of people have been asking me questions regarding SOAPUi, how tough is it and what's the best way to learn it, right? I'll start with very simple things, right? And as we proceed, I'll keep on going over to the complex things. So let's start with the basics, right? And the very common question is, what is SOAPUi? Well, SOAPUi is a tool which can help you to test web services. Now, before you understand what SOAPUi is, it is very important for you to understand why SOAPUi is used. What is a web service? Why do we need a web service? Okay, so if you understand all these things, you will be able to understand what SOAPUi is, right? Now, let's talk about in layman's term, right? Let's take up a very simple example, right? Suppose you go to a website. Fine, and that website deals with insurance. Okay, a very simple example. Just a minute. Right. So this is the website which deals with insurance. I'm going to come over to SOAPUi. I'll tell you everything, but just first understand why SOAPUi is required. What is a web service? Okay, don't just directly jump over to SOAPUi without knowing what a web service is or why are you using SOAPUi? Because few years back nobody used to use these web services and all. They've just come in and the future is very bright, right? So just giving some time to understand what a web service is, right? Now suppose you are going to a website that is an insurance website. Okay, on this website you enter your name, you enter your age, you enter your salary, you enter the kind of insurance details you want, the kind of insurance you want, and you submit your data. Now this website is just a broker. This is not the actual insurance company. What it will do is it will send your data to various insurance providers in the market. I'm sorry. So this will send the data to the various insurance providers which are there in the market, right? And each of the insurance provider, depending on the data, will do some calculations and will return you the type of insurance they can give for the customer. Okay. Now there are few conditions involved over here. There are few criteria involved over here. First of all, this whole thing should be very secure. Obviously, you are sending crucial customer data over the internet to some other vendor, and everything should be very secure, right? Secondly, suppose the insurance company over here is Max Insurance, right? Now, Max Insurance would never want that the broker should get inside their systems and should calculate the insurance amount. You got me right? None of these vendors rather would like the broker to get inside their systems, right, and calculate the insurance amount. That means nobody would like to share his username and password for the systems and calculate the insurance amount. Telling you in very layman's terms, basically, right? Now what happens is that it should be secure and the data should be protected. Hold on, right here. Data protected system should be there, right? Okay. Now how do we implement all these things? How do we implement this system? This system can be implemented using web services. Web service is nothing but, if you talk in very simple terms, web service is a simple XML file. Okay, web service is a simple XML file. An XML file like this. What is an XML file? Many of you might not be knowing what an XML file is. Some of you might be knowing. So just taking into consideration everybody out here, I'll just spare some time to explain what an XML is. Web service is completely based on XML. Okay, and web service can help you to resolve a problem like this. Okay, so out here the broker would send an XML, and XML would look like this. It will have tags, a tag called customer. Okay, and the customer tag will close like this. Make sure all the tags, they are in the conical brackets and the tags close like this. Inside this tag, I'll have another tag called, I'll have the customer details, that is the name of the customer, say Tom. The name tag will close. The age of the customer, the age tag will close, right? Then the salary of the customer. I'm just giving you a very simple example. Salary and type of insurance he wants. So this kind of file will be made by the broker website. Okay, this is an XML file. I'll save this XML. Okay, I'll save this XML on my desktop in a folder called XML. I'll save this as broker.xml in double quotes. Right, and I'll go to my desktop, and this is my XML file. Okay, I can open this XML file in a browser. Right, it will look like this. It's got tags. Everything is inside a customer tag. Name, age, salary, insurance. Now this kind of file can be sent over the internet, right, to the insurance companies. Right. Now what I'm doing is I'm simply sending insurance companies the data. I'm not asking insurance companies. The broker is not asking insurance companies to share their account details or login details so that we can calculate the insurance and everything. So what we do is we send the data to the company, and in return, right, the broker would also send back, sorry, the company, each of the insurance companies will also send back an XML like this. Okay, maybe insurance info tag will be like this out here, and inside that they will keep the name of the customer, that tag might be present, insurance tag might be present, right, and amount tag might be present, that is he will have to pay 100 USD as insurance. Like they are sending the quotation basically, right. They can say that for how much term it will be valid, right. Now I'll save this file again as insurance company.xml. In double quotes I'll write insurance company.xml. Now this file, this file will be sent back from the insurance company to the broker, and broker will display this kind of information to you. So the whole system can be very secure if we use XML, right? Okay. Now all these files should be sent in a very secure way, first of all. Secondly, the data should be protected, right? Sending in secure way also means that the data and all everything should be protected. Thirdly, the question arises, how do we do that? Okay, how do we do that? To implement sending of these XML files from one server to another server, we use protocols. Protocols like, there is a protocol in the market like SOAP protocol is there, REST protocol is there, right? These protocols, they help us to send XMLs from one system to another system. Taking again a very common, a general example, many of you might have booked the flight tickets. You go to a single website, and that single website gives you information about all the vendors, the flights and all, right, which are there. Suppose these are the 6 flight companies, airline companies. So this broker website will actually get the quotation of the flight which you want to go from all the vendors, and it will display you. So everything will happen through the XMLs. These kind of XMLs will be transferred between the main website and the and airline websites. For example, there is a very famous site called as makemytrip.com. It's in It offers. It's in India, right? It offers flights between one station and another, one destination and another destination. But the thing is, how does it get the quotation? How does it actually get the quotations from the actual airline? So everything happens behind the scenes in form of XML files, right? And SOAP and REST are the 2 famous protocols to implement this kind of service. This kind of service is known as web service. Okay, this kind of service is actually known as a web service, in which we use XMLs to communicate between systems. Okay, and web service can be implemented using SOAP REST protocols. Now, what are these SOAP and REST protocols? These are the industry standards basically, right? Whenever the sender and receiver are receiving or sending the data, there should be some standard, right? For example, in olden days, we used to send a letter, a handwritten letter from one destination to another destination. Now, there used to be a standard that on the front side you used to write the receiver letter, that is to whom you are sending it, and on the back side you used to write your own address, that is the person who's sending it, right? So at least there used to be kind of protocol that if the letter never reaches the other person, to reach back to the sender, right? So similarly, there's a protocol. Protocols are involved out here, that is kind of steps or kind of, you can say, procedures which the sender and the receiver has to agree to, right? These are specified by the protocols, right? Now, to test such applications, it is again a very big challenge for testers, because these applications will keep on growing. Now, everything on the world, everything is coming over to the internet, and every system wants to communicate with other systems, and businesses are getting complex these days, right? So obviously this kind of secure protocol will grow over a period of time, right? And it becomes a real challenge for the testers to test whether this kind of protocol is working fine or not. Okay, now to test this, right, a tool like SOAPUi is available, right? The SOAPUi tool. So suppose the insurance website architecture has to be tested, right? Again, you will have to require SOAPUi for that. So you can go to SOAPUi website, which is soapui.org, the home of functional testing, and this is the tool which can help you to test your web services. SOAPUi can test both SOAP as well as REST protocols. So these are the 2 famous protocols. There are other protocols as well, but most of the times, like, these are the 2 most famous protocols. Okay, now it's not actually mandatory to use SOAPUi everywhere, okay, but it will make your work very easy. You can also write a simple plain Java or PHP code or a Perl script to test web services and all, but SOAPUi makes the work very easy for testers, right? And I would seriously recommend this tool to everybody if you are doing doing testing on SOAPUi. Sorry, if you are doing testing on SOAP and REST protocols and all, right? There's something known as load UI as well, which actually is for load testing on web services. Right. So basically, let's come back and let's understand what we have studied. I told you that a web service is something in which XMLs are used to communicate between 2 different systems. and that even very securely, right? And web service is implemented using SOAP and REST protocols, right? Now, this is good. This is fine, right? Like I think you'll be able to understand this much. Right? Now, in web service, everything is based on a file known as WsDL file. Okay. Now, what is WsDL? WsDL is Web Services Descriptive Language. Well, it is something, a file which describes what a web service is supposed to do. I'm sorry. As we proceed with the course, maybe in the next module, right, you will come to know what a WsDL file is. Right? You'll come to know, right? It is something like this, that like there is a web service online available for everybody. There are many web services, small web services, not big ones, right, available for everybody. Like there's a football web service which is available to everybody. This is the website for football web service, and this is the WsDL file. Now, initially you will not be able to understand what this file is, right? But this file is the heart of web services testing. If a client tells you, fine, you need to test my application, right? He will give you this WsDL link, and this WsDL link will be used inside SOAPUi. If you are not able to understand what is written inside this file, don't worry, you will be able to understand as we take this WsDL into SOAPUi, right? But for time being, just understand, when a client tells you that you need to test his web service, he will give you the link to WsDL, especially for SOAP, right? Okay. Now, the question, next topic is how SOAPUi will help us. As I just told you, right? SOAPUi is a tool which can be downloaded and which in which you can just add the WsDL file and test the web service, right? But there are three different versions of SOAPUi available. One is the SOAPUi free version. Okay, if you go to the SOAPUi website, out here in download, this is the free version. This version will never expire, but it's got many limitations inside it, right? If you click on download SOAPUi, you will actually get the free version over here. Okay, you can get the free version from here. Okay, but there's a paid version as well for SOAPUi, which is very good with very good features. Okay, you can download the pro version. You'll have to pay for it. This trial version is actually the trial for this professional version. Okay, this trial version is actually the trial for this professional version. This is very you can say, I like this. Like it's got a lot of features, the pro version and all the features are also available in trial version. Okay, and apart from these, there is a separate SOAPUi version available which is having lesser number of features than pro, but it never expires. Okay, so we'll be talking about everything. You can also write the SOAPUi code using Java API, right? I'll talk about everything. Like for example, there's a Java API available for SOAPUi as well. If you write over here SOAPUi Java API, you'll get the SOAPUi Java docs as well. Now there are various ways to work with SOAPUi. Either you can do the coding in Java, or you can use SOAPUi as a tool and do the coding in Groovy. So we'll be talking about all of these things. You will get to know, right? Yes. Okay. Fine. Okay. The answer, the question being asked is, when do I use Groovy? When do I use Java? This is a little bit confusing. Well, if you are working on SOAPUi, for example, this is SOAPUi which I had downloaded and it is already installed on my machine. If you open the SOAPUi tool, right, inside the tool you can use Groovy scripting and work with it. Okay, but you can also open Eclipse and do core Java programming and everything without the SOAPUi user interface. Okay, and that will actually be in Java language, right? Just hold on, let it open, right? So for example, this is the user interface for SOAPUi. When you actually work inside this interface, you will use Groovy scripting. What are all these buttons and all and workspace properties and all? I'll talk about that later on, right? This version which I'm showing you is actually this one, the first one. Okay, if you don't want to work with this one, then what you can do is you can download Eclipse, which is an editor for Java language. As we proceed, I'll tell you, right? And you can do Java coding using the SOAPUi architecture, right? And you can also write your code in Java. So we'll be doing everything. Okay, whatever you can do on this user interface can also be done using Java coding over here. Okay, so Groovy scripting is used inside it, Java coding is used inside Eclipse. Okay, right, fine. The question being asked is, when do I use Java then, and when do I use this user interface? Well, honestly speaking, if you have not bought the pro version of SOAPUi, better use Java language. Don't use this one, right? It's more practical and it's more, you have got better hand, but only thing is you'll have to learn Java in that case. If you use this one, right, this SOAPUi normal edition, which never expires, you will have to do Groovy coding and all in it. But working with Java is much better than working with the normal edition, right? So you can work with SOAPUi in 3 ways. Either you do the coding in Java, right, by downloading Eclipse, or we'll talk about that later on, right? Or you can download the user interface of SOAPUi over here, which is the normal version, or you can purchase the pro version and work with it. The pro version has got a trial as well. This is a trial for 14 days. There's a lot of feature difference between both these versions. Okay, right? Now, okay. Protocols supported by SOAPUi, REST. So these are the major protocols which we use, and both of them are supported, right? Download and install SOAPUi. I have told you can download. How you can download it? You can download the exe file and install it, right? Future of web service. Well, it's quite bright. If you look at the past years, there has been a significant increase in web services being used, because these days a lot of businesses, they want to interact with each other in a very secure way, or even inside a company. Like I have worked for a company. I used to work for a company wherein one of the databases was implemented in mainframes. Okay, and another database of this was implemented in Oracle. Now this database, the mainframe database, was 25 years old, and it had a lot of information inside it. And the Oracle database was 5 years old. So they needed that both the databases should communicate with each other. So obviously the only solution out here was web service. Use the XML file and communicate between the databases. And for testers to test everything, it was again a challenge. So we use SOAPUi over there. Okay. So best of luck, right? As we proceed, we will actually learn a lot of things. In the next tutorial, we will start with the basics of Groovy scripting, right? And then we will gradually take up some practical exercises on SOAPUi, some practical scenarios and practical applications on SOAPUi, projects on SOAPUi, and we'll do it, right? Okay, thank you.